Leah, first defeat in the Vertu Trophy for us this season. Just give us your thoughts at full time, please.
Yeah, we're disappointed. We've obviously set our stall out this year to have a successful run at this competition, and you look at this fixture, and it's a fixture we earmark for maximum points out of. I feel as though we put a team onto the field that gives us an opportunity to do that, but we come out the wrong side of the result, and look, we obviously contribute to that ourselves as well, I felt like, in terms of perhaps the start to the game. So yeah, plenty to reflect on for us as a group and individually as well.
Is part of the frustration that the one goal that Harrogate did score feels a little bit self-inflicted in the passage of play that it results in?
Yeah, it does. It's a disappointment for us, of course, because it's probably a situation and an action we would have looked to have avoided, and that we probably, that we did discuss in terms of trying to steer clear of moments like that. Because if I'm Harrogate, those are probably the moments that I was looking for. So certainly for us as a group, we were aware of that. And look, we've made a decision and an error in a moment, and it can happen, of course. And we still have plenty left in the game to be able to react and to respond. And yeah, a big disappointment that we weren't able to do that, because we've created lots of good situations. But for me, probably not clinical enough in some of those moments, and probably also not enough of the moments. So lots to reflect on, and of course a disappointed group.
We didn't seem to retreat or go into our shells even after conceding early on. The opposite, in fact, we created plenty of chances in the box, but nothing clear cut, I think it's fair to say. Just gives you thoughts on that, because it's not the first time in the past couple of games we've talked about not taking our chances as well as we might have done.
Yeah, look, I think we've got to be better, if I'm being really honest. I really do. We have created some fabulous moments in front of goal that we've not taken. We've also got into some really good situations and not developed them into better situations and bigger moments. So for me, the reflections are we have to be and take more care in the final third. The detail of our final pass has to be better. Our execution in front of goal needs to be better in certain moments. And as I say, for us as a group, we have to reflect on that. That work will only improve and be better from the work we do on the training ground. So it's straight back to work on that front. And of course, reviewing those moments individually and seeing where we can be better. So yeah, work to do. Look, we've at the weekend had a similar story in terms of creating lots and lots of opportunities and fantastic moments in front of goal, and probably enough moments to win several games. It didn't hurt us at the weekend. Tonight it has. So I think certainly for us as a group, it's something to be really mindful of going forward.
I know right now's not the time that you probably want to be thinking about positives, but long-term positives might be the amount of young players we had involved this evening. 8 from the under-21s, 9 if you count Murray Wallace, with a little bit of time in between. Just tell us about their inclusion and their time tonight.
Yeah, so look, we are, as obviously everybody knows, we're in a situation right now where we have to be really careful about how we protect the whole group. And tonight was probably a reflection of that. So we make a lot of changes. I think we make 11 changes from the weekend, and the bulk of those that were on the bench were younger players that were yet to experience first team action. Some of those with very little exposure to our group, which of course makes it difficult for them when they're coming into a new environment. We're pleased that we managed to get some of those onto the pitch tonight. We would have liked to have done that in better circumstances, of course. But look, it's a good experience for them. So even for Kamasha, for Jay Sway, for Dan Vost, a very, very different sort of fixture than the ones they've been involved in previously, with different sorts of pressures and an opposition asking different things of them. So they will have learned a lot from that. We've certainly learned a lot about the whole group, and of course some of those younger players as well. So look, we have to be really mindful, again, like I say, of where we are, what we have available to us, the situation we have with availability at the moment, which isn't a good one. And tonight, as I say, the team selection reflects that.
For the young lads that made their first senior appearances and club appearances tonight, both George's and Amari as well, it's obviously a disappointment that it's not in better circumstances, but it's a nice moment for them and their families.
Yeah, look, I mean, any moment where you are arriving into your first senior football is special. And of course, all of those boys would have liked to have had that in a winning circumstance. It's not always the way football can be cruel at times, and as their careers grow and develop, they'll have certainly plenty more ups and downs. And of course, like I say, I'm always proud to be able to bring our younger players into the environment, the first team environment. But of course, they've got to be ready. They've got to be up to the level. And as I say, tonight's a real good eye opener for some of those boys.
Selfishly, with 11 changes tonight, that means there's probably going to be a number of changes at the weekend back towards the similar sort of team that played against Exeter. Does that mean that those boys and what you're expecting at the weekend is slightly different to what we've seen tonight, given the different personnel?
Yeah, so look, what we'll see at the weekend will be what we see at the weekend. Stockport will be a different test to what we've had in the past. The team selection for Stockport will be very different and will be based upon what we have in front of us, as it always is. Of course, always food for thought in terms of what I've seen this evening as well. So, yeah, lots to consider. Regardless of competition, you're always learning about the group. Tonight's no different. As I say, an opportunity to get senior minutes for our boys, and of course minutes for the younger players as well. So yeah, look, we're learning, we're understanding more and more about the character of the group as well, which is important. But overall, look, we're frustrated. We wanted to win a game, and it was certainly a game I felt like we could have won this evening.
Last thing I'll ask you is, there's still another game to play in the group stage of this. There's nothing been decided tonight as there wasn't after the first game. The intention remains the same, doesn't it? Win that last game at home and try and go through.
Yeah, absolutely. So the boys have been really clear with me about their desires and their hopes for this and ambitions for this cup competition. I'm fully behind them and with them on that. I think it's important that we this year approach every game with a real desire to win and show our best side. So look, the next game is important. We go to Mansfield and it'll be a tough one, we know, but again, we're ready to do what we need to do to progress in this competition.
Lee, thanks for taking the time.
Cheers, Raj.